Hello and welcome to a Not So Awesome Review, and today we're looking at the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron Imperial Troop Transport. This is a Walmart exclusive, I believe, which I picked up at the same time I picked up the Slave one, and yeah, I was kind of going back and forward if I wanted this one, if I'm being honest. But now that I have it in hand and messed with it a bit, I actually kind of really like it. So I do want to say before we get too far into it is the Troop Transport's one that never really interested me. The Vintage Collection one looked all right, but when they put the figures inside, it looked kind of goofy to me. I'm fine with that being the case with like the original Kenner one and everything, because, well, it was made back then. But the Vintage one always just seemed off to me, and having this one in hand and seeing the proportions of everything in what is supposed to be as close to accurate scale as it is, at least for this line, you can definitely see where Hasbro kind of cut corners, and we'll get into that in a second. But anyways, this vehicle does include 2 stormtroopers, one with a blaster and one without, and it's kind of disappointing because there should be a lot more. I normally don't talk about the box, but I'm gonna flash it here on the screen one more time so you guys can see the photo they have in the back where there's like stormtroopers everywhere, and it looks like, hey, look, this is awesome, you can have so many. There's no other way to get stormtroopers right now. Like, the box shows like so many of them, it's full, it looks amazing, it looks really good, honestly. And then you get 2 in the package. It's so dumb. This is the one time I'm going to say they should have charged an extra $3 or $4, made it 25 instead of 22, and included more stormtroopers, because where are we going to get them? Even the mystery boxes don't have stormtroopers right now. They have the bike ones, so I don't know. But I will say that the stormtroopers for the most part don't look too bad. You can see he does have his blaster again in his hand right there and everything, though it does look like they're wearing some nifty looking sunglasses. Yeah, I don't know, the detail is there. Even though it's all white, you got the black right here, knee pads and everything. So they're done really well. But again, they look like they have sunglasses and they don't have enough of them, which is my only real complaint. But they do the job where you can put one kind of in, I mean, you can get it in there. I'm going to put it in this one just so you can see, because there's an opening right there. I don't want them flying back, but you can see right there, you can get one in there, get one in the driver's seats, which we'll take a look at in a second. So move these to the side and take a look at the transport itself. Taking a closer look at the transport itself, it's honestly done really, really well. I love all the panel lining and everything, all the detail throughout the entire body of the ship. I like the brown wash that we got on it. It's on the Mandalorian, and I don't know if they've used it in anything else, but it's definitely in the Mandalorian, so it gives that vibe of, you know, it's dusty, there's been dirt blowing around and everything. I think the paint apps on it, the white and the red, came out really nice. So honestly, detail-wise, look-wise, this vehicle looks really, really good. I don't really have any complaints, aside from maybe the gray on the guns being a little bit too plasticky, but it's a really minor complaint. I don't mind it that much. Honestly, the vehicle looks really good. And taking a quick closer look around, you can see again the paint and everything looks really nice. The bottom of it is done up really, really well. A lot of a wash on there. We have some clear wheels that do spin, at least in the front too. That one spins. This one looks like there's a piece of plastic kind of blocking it, so might have to get like a flathead and try and shimmy that out of there, but it does roll pretty nice. We do have some indentations in here, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why that's there. I would have thought like if they locked it into the packaging that would make sense, but they didn't, so kind of weird. We do have some screw holes, some legal stuff, and yeah, overall it looks really good. Again, the guns in the front here are my only thing that I don't like. That and the gun on the top. When it comes to the paint, I think that maybe a silver dry brush on them to make them look a little bit more used would have came out looking a little bit better. But anyways, they do move up and down, rotate basically all the way around. Both of them do. So that's great on there. For the top here, we can move this up all the way back and then rotate it. So love that. Yeah, so a few things that I will say right now that, again, like I was saying about the vintage one, that I like about this is, one, the scale is really good, because again, we can put the Stormtrooper in here and it doesn't look ridiculous. Here's a stock photo of the vintage one where the Stormtroopers are so giant and so sticking out of there that it's always looked weird to me, and I guess this is why. I mean, if I went back and watched the show, I would have noticed. If I paid attention, I would have noticed that that's why it looks so off. But having it here in hand with these little minifigures, you can see how much different it's supposed to be, you know, how much bigger the vehicle should be. So good on Jazwares for getting that right. Aside from that, we do have the fact that all the doors on here open all the way on either side. Something that unfortunately, again, the Vintage Collection was lacking. I believe in that one only the front two opened and all the rest didn't. It's not too big of a deal, especially since we don't have enough Stormtroopers to kind of fill this thing out. But it's still a nice added feature that it's there. It wouldn't have been too hard for Hasbro to do it. And this isn't like a Hasbro hate fest. I'm not like the biggest fan of Hasbro, but I don't hate Hasbro. They make stuff I like. They just, that's like a whole other conversation. But I just wanted to point out, you know, that this is really good. Once again, the detail looks amazing. We can open the top here like so to reveal a full-on cockpit on the inside, which looks really good, really nicely detailed. We even have a door right there, which I love that. The Falcon doesn't have the door back there because of how tight they kind of had to make everything to make it all the right size and everything. This thing looks nice, looks roomy. We can fit 2 Stormtroopers in there, plus probably a few more just standing here if we really wanted to. I do like that we have that clear plastic here so we can look inside, but unfortunately it's really hard to actually see the Stormtroopers on the inside just because of how narrow it is, which makes sense, you know. They don't want to get shot up and killed while transporting. It's supposed to be kind of like a carrier tank in a way. I'm just using words here, but that's at least the way I see it. But we can close that. Then we can open this side right here by putting our hand right there, pulling that up. Again, more nice detail up here, and a lot of detail back here. No door. I mean, I guess that's the door. It looks bigger on this side, so that's, I don't know, maybe that's just my mind playing tricks on me, but it looks bigger on that side. Anyways, the floor looks really good. The watch on it looks really good. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4 seats here. Then we could have like another couple Stormtroopers standing around, another line of Stormtroopers standing around, which would make this thing look amazing. But again, we don't have enough. But I do like that they included it. The doors on the front two are open. Unfortunately, these ones don't open, so we can't get that kind of effect of them pouring out or anything, but it's still really nice. Really love how they did this vehicle. It's honestly one of my favorite ones, which I'm surprised to say because this is one I was considering passing on. Even when I was at the store looking at it, I was considering passing on it, but having it here in hand and seeing the differences and the fact that it's an actual proportion to what it should be in size, unlike, again, the Hasbro one, sorry, but seeing it in the proportion it's supposed to be, with Stormtroopers, not like standing like this tall over it, but actually being the right size for it, makes me like it. Honestly, it makes me almost want the vintage one, except for I know it looks like this and not like this. Anyway, for a few size comparisons, here we have it next to the X-Wing, which it's massive. This thing, like just looking at this tells you how big it was supposed to be. Again, sorry to say it over and over again, but Vintage Collection got it so much smaller. And if you want a better perspective, you guys know how big the Razor Crest is. So here we have it next to the Razor Crest, and just looking at them side by side, Hasbro would have made it a HasLab if they wanted to make this the actual one. It's not 1/18 scale. It should be, what is it, 1/16 scale technically, since it's a vehicle. But for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to say 1/18 scale. Yeah, they wanted to do it in the 3¼ inch size for those figures to make it more accurate. They would have definitely said, oh, it's a HasLab. And yeah, so you can kind of see why they had to cut corners and make it shorter. Because this, I mean, the Razor Crest, if you've seen the HasLab Razor Crest, you know it's massive. So just seeing this side by side with this, it's wider in some areas. At least like from the main body of the ship. So I can see why they didn't do it. But yeah, just that's some perspective there that I did not expect. I would have imagined this being smaller. But in a way, it does make sense considering they're full body humans and everything. Next up here it is next to a TIE Fighter, just so you guys can see that. Our other Walmart exclusive, the Slave One. And lastly, the Millennium Falcon, which, although I would have loved to have done a comparison with Gideon's TIE Fighter, can't do it because it's a chase and I haven't found it. Hopefully I find it, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. And just because I was actually really curious about this, yes, he is a little bit short to be a Stormtrooper, so I love that scale right there. That makes me happy right there. I mean, it's not too big, but it's enough. It's enough. And lastly, here we have Vader with his Stormtroopers, which looks awesome. Would look much more awesome if it came more, but still cool to see nonetheless. So honestly, if you were to ask me, this is a surprise hit. They did a really great job with this vehicle. They made me like something that I wasn't really too interested in. And they did it in great size, great scale. Everything looks really good. Again, compared to the Hasbro one, I'm sorry. I'm going to just mention it one more time. I know it's not the best thing to compare it to, but it just shows that that one is definitely too small. I get why it always looked ridiculous to me, and I see how big it should be. I can't blame Hasbro too much on that because, again, they would have had to have made it bigger and they would have upped the cost, definitely. So I'll give them kind of a pass on that. At least they released it, so there is that. But when it comes to looks, this one definitely wins in my opinion. The only downside with this vehicle is honestly the fact that we just don't get enough Stormtroopers. That and the price, because I do feel, again, the $22 price point is a little bit high. This one definitely feels like it should have been more close to that $16, $17 mark, though I would have paid 22 to even 25 if it had came with a full-on thing of Stormtroopers. The fact that we only have 2 and the packaging depicts so many in there is disappointing. So unless Jazwares is planning on releasing packs of just minifigures in this size, I don't know how we're going to fill this out. At the moment, you would have to buy, I think I did the math and it was like 4 of these or 8 of these. I don't remember. I think somewhere around there. It's either 4 or 8, which is a lot of money. Not worth it in my opinion, because you'll just end up with a bunch of empty transports and one full one. I mean, you do you if that's what you want to do. It's just not something I want to spend my money on. But yeah, it's cool. I think it's going to be so much cooler once we get more Stormtroopers. I'm hoping we'll get other vehicles with Stormtroopers in it. Maybe they'll start doing playsets. I can definitely see them doing little like buildings and stuff like that. That would be awesome. That's kind of my hope for the future of this line. We'll talk about that in a future video though. As for this one, again, yeah, it looks cool. I think it's one of my favorite ones. It surprises me that I actually like it as much as I do. And yeah, anyways, that is my review for the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron Troop Transport. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And we have one more of these to do, unless again I get the other vehicle I'm missing, and then we'll be doing a overview of this entire line some point in the near future. Going to be trying to posting 3 times a week so that there's at least something going on every week, but we'll see how that goes. I don't usually like announcing stuff like that because kind of never happens in that order, but I definitely have at least one more Star Wars vehicle. I have the Orbiter, which I've been meaning to review since I got him like a week ago. Carter should finally be here from GameStop soon, so we'll be doing a video on him, and then maybe some other miscellaneous stuff, some Jurassic World and other things. So check back if you're interested on any of that stuff. There will maybe be some vintage collection stuff as well. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I will see you all later. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.